All right, so we have market has created a resistance at this level. So how do you do that? You click on the horizontal line and you point it. So the yellow line, let me change the color. The yellow line confirms that this is a resistance. Now this resistance that was created, first it was price resistance, and then second, price has gone back to that same place before it dropped down. Then there are some people that will see a different version of that here. So those who will be holding a buy before this spike will happen, they have a reason to see that buy. Now, what is their reason? Some of them will also be seeing a double bottom or a W or a triple bottom somewhere here. That gave them a confirmation here. Now, just before we go into the real deal, there's a dynamic in the market. That's why you must have the idea of candlestick structure or candlestick formation. We saw a long rejection here. As far as you are trading on a smaller time frame. Now let's go to the bigger time frame. Let's put here, and then we go to 15-minute time frame. Okay, let me go to 1 hour time frame for us to look at something. Okay, so when you look at the 1 hour time frame, you realize that what we spotted on the 5-minute time frame is more or less like no major move on the 1 hour time frame. What we saw was no major move on the 1 hour time frame. So at the end of the day, if you are trading on the 5-minute time frame, probably you'll be expecting a buy. But on the 1 hour time frame, it is clearly a sell. Why is it a sell? Realize that, let me just take off this and put here. So we have a resistance created here, another resistance created here. With a bearish, is a bullish, and then got a rejection, and then boom, it started pushing downward. All right, so if you are trading on the smaller time frame only, these are some mistakes that you'll be making as a trader. You must put together a time frame A, time frame B, time frame C to get a decision. All right. So when we get to that point where we are talking about multiple time frame analysis, these are some of the things that we're going to look at. How do you look into the time frames and be able to identify what time frame is controlling the market? Now, when we look at the 1 hour time frame, we realize that this is an uptrend. When we take a trend line, we'll get something like this. All right, so change it to black. So when we take a trend line, we have something like this. Now, what is a trend line? Trend line is just a gauge or a diagonal line that you draw to project a direction of market, which is also termed as a diagonal support and resistance. A diagonal support and resistance, or a diagonal support or resistance. Now, when we look at this is a clear uptrend. But when market is going up, it creates levels. Those levels, we call them key levels. Where when market creates those key levels, it needs to respect those key levels. Now, if we're respecting those key levels, then what actually is happening on this current structure? As a trader, when you go up and you become a trader, certain things, when you see them, nobody is expected to tell you this is what market is doing and at this point. All right, so I can spot one here and spot a level here, which has become a valid level because initially it was a resistance, and it respected the resistance at this level, pushed down to this level to respect this previous resistance tend to support. So this area here, was a resistance, converted back to a support. Then finally, there was a correction here that this structure here respected. This structure here respected this correction. And then finally, price has broken this level created here and then got it tested. So this resistance here became a support at this level and then packet push up. Then we also have another resistance here in this whole area. So one here and 2 here, that validate to become what we call a zone. So another resistance was created here, broken, converted to a support. All right, so let's take another one here. So we have another level here. Then we have another resistance at this level. So this resistance here, currently price is validating that resistance, and there's a little bit of consolidation here. So this whole structure, the first support that we spotted on the 5-minute time frame and the current support we're looking at on the 1-hour time frame can tell you that market is actually respecting a level here, which means that there could be a probability of a push-up. So something like this, there could be a probability of a push-up from this level towards this direction, and then break it a little up, then expect price to come back to test it and create another direction for it. Now, on this point, you cannot just use a decision, just one thing for your decision. So we can be looking at what other patterns, structures, formations are we finding from that. All right, so then there come dynamism. Now, where the dynamism? So somebody will say, okay, I want to look at it from this point here. So we have another trend line in this trend line. Then somebody also said, okay, let me connect the tops. Now when we connect the tops, this is a trend line having 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. So the probability is that we are expecting when price touch respected this line, we're expecting it to break below to come to somewhere this level. So we are expecting a new level somewhere here if the trend line will be respected. Now, we now have 3 trend lines, one in the middle, one above and one below. So at that point, the middle one becomes a control line. So these are things that we are coming to look at, break it down, where we have pattern formation, pattern in pattern, support and resistances, zones created, continuation patterns, and so on and so forth. All right, so these are things that we're going to look at, and I believe you follow till we get to the end. All right, so this is just a preamble for us to look at, and you must start forecasting these things so that you can be able to control the market. When you're able to understand these things, you are able to control the market. And when you control the market, what do? You'll be able to project the direction of the market, anticipate where market is going to go, and then the high probability setups with high probability money. Once you get a high probability setup, you're automatically getting a high probability money way or to make your money. So those are the things. So you must along the line, you remind me pattern in pattern, pattern separation and combination of patterns, how to spot. Let's say you see a triangle, but in that triangle there are so many triangles. How do you dissect them? How do you put them, scatter them? and what can you make out of them when you scatter them. All right. So that